Good day, folks. Thank you for joining us here at Your Health. On today's program, we'd like to talk about the health benefits of taking extra vitamin C. Even higher doses of vitamin C, it's safe and it provides tremendous health benefits that you should know more about. So that's what we'll talk about today. But first, let's go to our news. Let's see what's happening in the health world. More TV with less physical activity greatly increases disability risk. Researchers from George Washington University followed the health and exercise patterns of over 134,000 seniors for 10 years. All the study participants started the study in good health with no physical disabilities. They found the seniors who watched more than 5 hours of television daily while exercising less than 3 hours a week were 300% more likely to develop physical disability at the end of the study. The study also found prolonged television viewing at night was especially damaging to long-term mobility. The study was published by the Journal of Gerontology. Related research from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society finds several key lifestyle factors accurately predict length of life and the likelihood of developing physical disability. The study of over 5,000 older adults followed for 25 years finds those who maintain ideal or near ideal weight, exercise regularly, do not smoke, and eat a healthy diet live the longest with the least physical disability. Well, folks, there is no doubt about it. Our future health lays squarely in our hands. There are obviously factors beyond our control, but what we do on a daily basis, the foods we eat, how often we get up and move, the habits we develop, and even the amount of television we watch plays a role in our health, potential disability, and even the length of quality years we live. We set the tone with our daily habits. Now, our first study reveals fascinating insights. This study finds if you sit and watch TV for more than 5 hours a day, especially at night with very little exercise, that would be less than 3 hours of physical activity a week, you are 3 times more likely to develop physical disability with age. This study also found if you watch a lot of TV, but you also get up and move for 1 hour a day, just an hour a day, your likelihood of developing disability is not increased at all. That is good to know. So, daily exercise negates the risk of even prolonged TV viewing. Please understand physical activity includes simply standing or moving about, such as doing routine household chores or even walking around the block. You do not need to jog or walk 5 miles a day to receive some of the benefits of exercise. Do more if you are able, but do at least these basic things on a regular basis. Our next study finds several key lifestyle factors accurately predict longevity and disability. They are regular exercise, keeping our weight down, not smoking, and eating a quality diet. Basic, simple things that no one can do for us. Exercise during pregnancy benefits mother and baby. Researchers from the Camilo Jose Cela University in Spain conducted a review of available literature to find exercise during pregnancy provides multiple health benefits. Those benefits include reduced risk of excessive weight gain, preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, cesarean section, low back and pelvic pain, and urinary incontinence. The only restrictions noted from the study was exercise should not be intense. They also found only mothers with medically or obstetrically confirmed reasons should avoid exercise. The study was published by the Journal of the American Medical Association. This one is important as far too many have the mistaken opinion that exercise during pregnancy creates health risks for both mother and baby. The study found exercise during pregnancy, as long as it's not too intense, does not increase the risk of premature birth, low birth weight, or fetal distress. In fact, a pattern of regular, mild to moderate exercise lowers the risk of our most common health problems encountered during pregnancy, such as excessive weight gain and gestational diabetes, preeclampsia or pregnancy-related hypertension, the need for delivery by C-section, low back and pelvic pain, and even urinary incontinence. The researchers recommend each exercise session during pregnancy should last about 45 minutes and be engaged in 3 to 4 times a week. To provide the health benefits described, the exercise should be brisk and aerobic, combined with some strength training. Exercises such as Pilates or stretching is not enough to provide this level of benefit. Now, the only restrictions are those of prior medical or immediate obstetrical nature, so mothers Get out there and get moving. It does you and your baby good. Well, today on Your Health, we'd like to discuss the health benefits of supplementing higher doses of vitamin C. Stay tuned to learn more.
Log on to Life Christian TV and shop with Amazon Smile and support our station. By shopping on Amazon Smile, you'll be able to shop for the same products at the same prices. It's really simple. Just log into Amazon Smile as you would your regular Amazon account and type KSCE Channel 38 Christian Television in the pop-up box. When choosing an organization to support, the Amazon Smile Foundation will donate 5% of the purchase price of eligible products to KSCE Channel 38 Christian Television. Log on to Life Christian TV and shop with Amazon Smile and support our station.
Es un corto trayecto de su colonia hasta su bosque local. Para encontrar un parque o zona verde cerca de usted, visite descubreelbosque.org.
You're going along, in life, and suddenly death comes in under the door. Takes your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Takes your wife or your husband or your children. It can happen slowly, it can happen instantly. In the next 24 hours, 150,000 people will die. And after death, the judgment, and God's going to judge by the holiness of his law. Lust is adultery, hatred is murder, and every time you sin, you store up his wrath, and hell is real, and you're heading there. All liars live up in the lake of fire. What are you going to do on Judgment Day? But fortunately, God is rich in mercy, and he provided a Savior who died for you on the cross, rose again on the third day. And if you repent and trust in him, God will grant you the gift of everlasting life. And he just say, please get right with God today. Don't put it off till tomorrow, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring. I've found everlasting life. I cannot but speak that which I've seen and heard.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to be with you today. Well, today we're going to learn all about the importance of vitamin C. Now, we all know, and we've all heard and probably taken vitamin C for most of our lives, right? But I think the key here is, are you getting enough to make a real difference? So, Richard, that I think is one of the things that I learned that stuck out the most for me when I've taken vitamin C forever, right?
Yes.
But then when I really started taking an effective dose, what a difference it made.
What a difference it makes. And yet there's still great controversy in the world of vitamin C and what it can do. You know, if scientists were just trying to investigate scurvy, does vitamin C really prevent scurvy? A couple, 3 studies would be enough, but we've had thousands, tens of millions. We're in the millions now of studies that at least mention vitamin C in their writings. Is vitamin C a cure for the cold? Can it be used to help treat cancer? Can it really abort a polio infection? Really? This is the reputation. How about autoimmune disease, pneumonia, and on and on? Learning more about vitamin C helps you to realize that studies that show vitamin C doesn't help many of these conditions, they did not use a high enough dose. So really, vitamin C is all about the dose. As little as 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, a tiny amount, a speck of dust, will prevent scurvy, but it doesn't do the other things for us, and that's really what we want to talk about. So this leads to the question, are you getting enough vitamin C? Does your multiple have 100 milligrams and you think that's enough vitamin C? No more? Any extra is just lost in the urine? Not so. Give us this hour. Learn more about vitamin C, and I think when we're done, you'll say, you know, I could use a little extra of that. That would help me. Vitamin C is the most widely recognized and studied vitamin, bar none. Now, vitamin D is catching up. This is very close, but vitamin C, there's more research, more literature on vitamin C than any other nutrient. Even ancient humans, before they even knew about vitamins, recognized it's necessary to eat raw foods in order to be healthy. Raw fruit, raw vegetables, they all have vitamin C. Even raw meat has enough vitamin C to prevent scurvy. I don't recommend you eat raw meat, but in a survival setting, if you have a bite or two of raw meat a day, it will give you enough vitamin C to prevent scurvy. Now, there's a downside to that, and you can get very sick from raw meat, but in a survival setting, it may be applicable. Today, the dietary factor that prevents scurvy is well known. It's ascorbic acid, it's vitamin C, and it is supplemented by more people worldwide than any other nutrient. So you're in good company. You started at a very young age taking vitamin C, and you're with the majority of people worldwide. More people take vitamin C than any other nutrient. It is also the most researched. There are almost 3 million studies at Google scientists, Google scholars, excuse me. Many studies. Now, we know about scurvy and vitamin C, but vitamin C is also a cofactor for 8 life-essential enzymatic reactions. The formation of collagen is one of those, so there are 7 others. Low intakes under that 15, that prevents scurvy, but it does not provide enough vitamin C to fuel these 7 other critical life reactions. That's the whole point of today's program, to help you understand, yes, that 100 milligrams will prevent scurvy, but what about those 7 other critical enzymatic reactions that provide good health? Vitamin C is also, here's the third function, a powerful antioxidant. It is a water-soluble vitamin, so large doses can be ingested and excreted without side effects. It's very well tolerated. Scurvy is the disease that results when vitamin C intake is very low. That's what we call it, the index disease. Scurvy is vitamin C's index disease. When collagen cannot be formed, this is scurvy. When you don't have enough vitamin C, we have dehiscence. The collagen breaks apart. It's the cross-linkings that can't be formed, so the collagen actually splits apart. You can have bleeding gums, bruising, internal hemorrhage, wound dehiscence. If you had an operation 30 years ago, let's say you had a C-section, whatever it is, appendectomy, whatever it is, and 30 years later you develop scurvy, that wound will open. Isn't that amazing? 30 years later, that wound will still open because you can't maintain your collagen scar tissue. That is scurvy. Coiled hairs may develop, dry eyes and a dry mouth, joint pain, bleeding into the joint, hemarthrosis, fatigue, depression, even psychosis will develop. Immune dysfunction leading to infections and eventual death will occur from scurvy. This huge bank of vitamin research confirms vitamin C has a triple role in health. The first is preventing scurvy. The second is these other 7 enzymatic reactions. And the third is the free radical scavenging activity of vitamin C. Now, from a layman's perspective, tell me your perception of vitamin C? It was really about scurvy. You want to prevent that before you learn more about it.
Actually, it was to prevent a cold.
Prevent a cold.
Right.
Okay, so you had tapped into those 7 other enzymes that require vitamin C. That's very informed. I'm proud of you. That's good. But most people don't think of vitamin C that way. Well, I have enough to prevent scurvy. That's all I need. Don't you think most people feel that way?
I don't know that we even think of scurvy these days.
Well, that's a good point. But you know what? I saw a case of it just last month.
You did?
Yeah, so it happens.
Wow.
It happens. It still happens in the modern world. Now, if the level of vitamin C is high enough to prevent scurvy, but too low to modulate these health-promoting enzymes, we develop what's called diseases of chronic insufficiency. No scurvy, but these other requirements are not being met. When that happens, when we're getting just enough to prevent scurvy, but not enough for optimal health, science has proven our cancer rate increases. We have more diabetes, more coronary artery disease, more stroke, autoimmune disease, more incidence and risk of arthritis and chronic spine pain, chronic pain syndromes. We have more neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease, dementia, acute infections such as cold, flu, or even pneumonia, and even chronic recurrent infections such as hepatitis, mononucleosis, premature aging, and physical disability before your time. We lose optimal health. When we have more vitamin C, we don't have nearly the troubles with that. This has been clearly established in the research. To help us understand why chronic insufficient intake of vitamin C, this is the diseases of chronic insufficiency, let's take a look at a few of the reactions that vitamin C does besides the scurvy. Vitamin C is also involved in the production of L-carnitine for cardiovascular energy. L-carnitine shuttles fatty acids into the mitochondria of the cell, the powerhouse of the cell, the energy production part of the cell that gives the cell the energy it needs to do all its different functions, like get the heart to beat, to think a thought, to walk across the room so you can make a sandwich. L-carnitine helps us provide energy. If you don't have enough vitamin C, you're not making enough L-carnitine. And 5 to 10 milligrams, which will prevent scurvy, is not enough to provide for the L-carnitine effect. Modulation of iron absorption, transportation of iron through the system, and the storage of iron. There are some 70 different genes that are affected when our vitamin C is so low that we can't manage our iron. 70 different genes. We are iron-based creatures. Without vitamin C, we're not utilizing it properly. The biosynthesis of corticosteroids and aldosterone. These are cholesterol-based hormones essential for life. They control our glucose, our mineral levels in our bloodstream, and our inflammation and immunity throughout our body. And you can't do it properly. You can't meet the demands of daily life if vitamin C levels are too low. This has nothing to do with scurvy. It's all about proper hormone function through the adrenal glands. The organ with the highest vitamin C concentration is the adrenal gland throughout the entire body. It's fundamental to the proper function of our hormone control through the adrenal glands. The conversion of cholesterol into bile salts. This has everything to do with blood recycling. It has everything to do with detoxification as well, highly vitamin C dependent. The prevention of oxidation of cholesterol plaques. The production of nitric oxide. This is far-reaching. This is the essence of humanity. This knowledge won a Nobel Prize. Nitric oxide reactions that control endothelial function. That's the diameter of the blood vessel. Angiogenesis. Peristalsis, angiogenesis, the production of new blood cells. Peristalsis, that's how our bodies digest food. Insulin production, cell signaling, growth, and development. All of that's vitamin C dependent. We have more when we return from these important messages. We'll be back.
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Hello, I'm Ted Baer, publisher of MovieGuide.org.
And I'm Evie Bear Carroll, his daughter, so this is your family guide to movies and entertainment.
I usually don't like documentaries, but this is called Created Equal, and it's about Clarence Thomas, who's, of course, the Supreme Court Justice. First place, he grew up on Georgia in the swamp area, and they had to move to Savannah, and they moved to a tenement, and it was just miserable. And it was by the grace of God that his grandparents, his grandfather was a tough guy, adopted him, took him in, and took him to a Catholic school because that was the best school in the neighborhood. And he got excited about God and got excited about faith, and he went off to a seminary, but they were very racist, so he became very angry, and he actually joined the Black Panthers. He marched on Harvard. He realized what he had done. He went to a church and he prayed. His life turned around. He worked for Ronald Reagan, and then he was appointed to the Supreme Court.
So this is a real American dream movie. I mean, it sounds like a beautiful description of what can happen.
What's beautiful about it is he's got so much faith that he's never held resentment. He's never held revenge. He's a man who's done incredible things, and he's a man who survived incredible poverty, which I can't even imagine.
Join Life Christian Broadcasting Network Sunday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. for ILTV's Everything Israel, Israel's Voice in the World newscast. ILTV is an independent English-language media company based in Tel Aviv that provides daily news and entertainment to viewers around the world. ILTV News is high-quality content in a broad array of subjects, from reporting unbiased news and current events to programming that highlights technology, art and entertainment, sports and culture. Tune in to ILTV News on Life Christian Broadcasting Network to enjoy watching daily news from Israel and around the world with unbiased reporting from Tel Aviv through our daily ILTV newscast. Join us Sunday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. for daily news from Israel, right here on Life Christian Broadcasting Network.
I'm Hannah Keeley.
Nice to meet you.
Yep, that's me. I was a behavior therapist for a while. Then I had a few kids. Okay, a lot of kids. Well, 7 to be exact. I soon realized that of all the people who need help, moms are at the top of the list. My therapy may not be your kind of therapy, but it works. I'm Hannah, and I'm here to help.
Hannah Help Me, Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. right here on KSE Christian Television.
When you want the latest information about your health, when you have questions about handling your finances, when you need prayer and inspiration to live a more abundant life, and when what's happening in the world impacts your community and your family, turn to the 700 Club for analysis and insight into the events of the day. The 700 Club.
We're back, everyone. If you're just joining us, we're having a great discussion on the importance of vitamin C, and it's amazing what all bodily processes vitamin C is involved in and the different disease processes it helps to treat and prevent.
Yes, it does.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. And these are all things beyond the prevention of scurvy. Next is glutathione. The production and recycling of glutathione and the recharging of glutathione is vitamin C dependent. Glutathione is one of our major innate antioxidant systems. It's helping control the smoke of the metabolic fire, as it were. We don't want our system to fill up with metabolic byproducts. It's highly damaging to our systems, and glutathione helps to counter that. It's like a catalytic converter in our body, so to speak, keeping the pollution down in our bodies. And vitamin C plays a major role in that. Vitamin C also modulates the production of inflammatory substances like prostaglandins. Arthritis, painful joints respond to vitamin C. Higher doses of vitamin C help calm painful joints, and this is the explanation why. Modulation and regeneration of vitamin E. All the benefits of vitamin E are highly dependent on vitamin C. Detoxification of carcinogens and other toxic substances such as heavy metals, pollutants, and preservatives. Effects of vitamin C beyond scurvy. Reasons why you need more than 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams a day of vitamin C. Production of hydrogen peroxide that our body naturally makes in our white blood cells that help to kill cancer and other infectious disease agents. That peroxide disrupts the cell membrane, cell walls of invading pathogens, and vitamin C helps to make that happen. Modulation of white blood cells production and immune function overall helps the body make more white blood cells, stabilizes the vasculature, preventing shock and sepsis. Intensive care doctors, when you have septic shock, if you would hang a bag with vitamin C, you'd save more patients. Use all your standard treatments. I got no problem with those. They work beautifully, but not always. If you added a little vitamin C, I used to do this in medical practice in the hospital. It's well tolerated. It works. Read and learn more about it. You can save more people with nutrients than just with drugs alone. Regulate the body's response to low oxygen levels. When does that happen? Like when you're having a heart attack or a stroke. You'll have less damage from the heart attack and stroke if you're a usual taker of vitamin C. Hopefully you'll never have the heart attack or stroke. Inhibition and replication of many life-threatening viruses, including HIV and hepatitis C. The effect on viruses of high-dose vitamin C is remarkable. And this is what many people, why they take. I remember a gentleman who says, you know, when I first get the sign of a cold, if I take a gram or so of vitamin C every hour, within 24 hours, I'm over that cold and done. You know, maybe that will work for you. A lot of people, that's what they find when they take higher dose vitamin C for colds. It is a powerful antioxidant that helps to counter free radicals. One of the major driving forces of early aging and disability are these free radicals. When taken at higher levels, vitamin C counters free radicals generated by disease. Please understand the pains you're suffering, The joint pain, the disability, the muscle aches, and these things that keep us in a chair, they are generally, at least in part, made by free radicals in our bodies. If we increase our antioxidant vitamin C, we counter that, and with time, you're going to have less pain and suffering. This is common. Our disability rates are skyrocketing because of chronic pain, and narcotics do nothing for that problem. Don't forget that. They do nothing for that problem. Nutrition does a lot for that type of problem. It protects organs from reactive oxygen species and toxic insults. So we have the first role, vitamin C as an antiscurvic. The second role, the 7 other enzymes that do all these various, and there was more, I kind of condensed it into something we can manage. And now the third role is vitamin C as a powerful antioxidant. When we take higher levels, it's a powerful free radical scavenger. Understand that many of our symptoms that cause us discomfort are generated by free radicals, and we can counter that. Pain, swelling, throbbing, fatigue, insomnia, burning, itching, aching, and more. All this is related to free radical generation in our body, and we can counter that with a good antioxidant program. By taking large amounts of vitamin C, the symptoms of a cold or even pneumonia or other diseases can be dramatically improved. Now, one of the scientific discoveries that led to the notion that we can take more vitamin C was the discovery that most animals make their own vitamin C. Humans, primates, guinea pigs, and I think there's 1 or 2 others. But 99% of all of God's animals make their own vitamin C. And how they do it is they take the glucose molecule. Imagine my fingers here are the glucose molecule. They have one extra enzyme, and what it does is it turns that glucose molecule over on itself. Now it's vitamin C. That's all it is. Turn it back, it's glucose. We all have glucose, but we don't have that enzyme. So this helps you to understand taking higher amounts of vitamin C. It's not really foreign to our bodies. It's just glucose turned over on itself. But here's the thing. If we look at a goat, a 70-kilogram goat, that's about a 150-pound goat. He makes 13 grams of vitamin C a day. That's when he's healthy. When that goat becomes stressed or sick, he can make 50 grams or more a day, but he has the enzyme to do it. We don't. We have to ingest it. That would mean if we were to do what a goat does, we would have to eat 50 oranges a day, and when we become sick, we would have to eat how many? 86 oranges a day when we're sick, and 333 oranges when we become ill. 86, about 100 when we're well, 350 or so when we're sick. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. That's impossible to do. We're not going to do it. Due to the fact that vitamin C is water soluble, it's not stored, it has a short half-life, it's removed quickly from the body, that makes it very safe for us to do. But it also means we have to dose vitamin C every hour, 2 hours, 3 hours when we're feeling sick to help really improve those symptoms. Begin dosing vitamin C every 2 to 3 hours as soon as you feel you're becoming sick from a cold, or if you're suffering with a health condition and you want to make a difference with vitamin C. To take full advantage of vitamin C's health-promoting properties, it may require taking a dose of 10 to 20, even up to 50 grams a day. Of course, we want to divide those into smaller doses so we have a consistent, steady level of vitamin C in our bloodstream. Divide it into 4 or 5 doses during the day. Take that 10 grams, take 2 every 3 or 4 hours for a total of 10 to 12 grams a day. You don't typically have to get up in the middle of the night to take vitamin C when you're using high dose. However, you can. If you wake up in the night and you want to take an extra dose, you can. Now, let's start on this before our critical break here. Pioneers of vitamin C therapy. You know, we owe a lot to those who came before us. They helped break the ground so that we can take advantage of their discoveries. However, every generation of humans has to learn these things. And I really am very concerned about young people who think history is not important, because it's through our understanding of our medical history that we avoid making the same mistakes over and over and over. And so a short discussion of the pioneers of the orthomolecular approach to treating a disease, where all this vitamin C knowledge came from, is absolutely worth the effort. And we're going to do that when we return from these important messages. We'll be back in just a little bit, folks. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Join us at Harvest Christian Center Saturday, October 17th at 6 p.m. for an evening with Eric Metaxas. Eric is the #1 New York Times best-selling author of Martin Luther, If You Can Keep It, Bonhoeffer, and many more books. Eric speaks to thousands around the U.S. and internationally each year. His Wall Street Journal op-ed, Science Increasingly Makes the Case for God, is the most popular and shared piece in the history of the journal. If you care about saving our American Republic, will you join us Saturday, October 17th at 6 p.m.
We're back, everyone, having a very interesting discussion on the importance of vitamin C and getting enough vitamin C in our diet, in our supplement plan. And to help you, we've got a great special. We have Dr. Becker's Bionutrients Vitamin C Complex. Buy one, get one free, where you buy one bottle at the list price, you get a second bottle free. So don't miss that one. You need your C's. So Richard, there's been a lot of study on the C's
Yes.
and on medicine before our time. Let's talk about it.
Well, this goes all the way back to the first book of the Bible. The first chapter of Genesis, it states, I have given every tree which has fruit. Every green plant will be your food. This is a very early clue in human history that, you need live green things in order to stay healthy. The first controlled experiment in Western civilization was conducted by the Royal Navy surgeon James Lind. He observed that sailors who ate citrus on these long voyages that the Royal Navy was known for, they had better health. Those who didn't have the citrus, they developed scurvy. And he did a study that proved that. But even with his proof, and he published this proof, it took over 30 years for the Royal Navy to adapt the lime ration. 2 limes a day for the sailors. That's why they called them limeys. And it prevented scurvy. But it took years for them to accept that. We still have that problem in today's world. It takes us forever to accept new knowledge. They gave limes to the sailors, but they didn't know why it helped. In 1907, 2 Norwegian physicians were studying beriberi. That's a vitamin B deficiency in guinea pigs, and they accidentally discovered that guinea pigs need what limes provide in order for them to be well. They need vitamin C just like humans. Very few animals do that. So with the guinea pig discovery, now scientists had an animal model to study scurvy. And that rapidly progressed the knowledge. Albert Schmidt-Georgi discovered and described vitamin C as a molecule, and that it prevents scurvy, and he was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1937. But it took all that time, from the 1700s to 1937, to figure out what this molecule was. And soon, synthetic production of vitamin C followed. That was another first. And since that time, forward-thinking, brilliant physicians such as Linus Pauling, Abram Hoffer, Roger Williams, Frederick Kleiner, Robert Cart, and others have pioneered the use of high-dose vitamin C in the clinical setting. This is now what's called orthomolecular medicine, and basically what that means is the right molecule for the right disease. Obviously, if you have scurvy, the only molecule that will cure you is vitamin C. Well, let's extrapolate that further to the 7 other enzymes that require vitamin C for the proper function. Small doses of vitamin C prevent scurvy, but what about the others? This has led to the high-dose vitamin C. Scores of studies and the experience of thousands of doctors and millions of patients now have proven we can take very large doses of vitamin C safely, with a few exceptions we'll disclose later on in the program. 10 grams, 20 grams, even 50 grams or more have been studied and proven safe. High doses of vitamin C can be taken by intramuscular injection, intravenous injection, and they can be taken by mouth. As the dose of vitamin C increases by oral administration, eventually intestinal upset will occur. The lowest dose that creates a bowel disturbance such as gas or diarrhea, loose stool, the lowest dose that causes these gut disturbances is called the bowel tolerance dose. For a healthy person who's not suffering from an illness, their bowel tolerance dose is typically 8 to 12 grams a day. Got that? Write that down. That's an important figure. That's where we would start for our high-dose vitamin C therapy, that 8 to 12 grams a day in 4 to 5 divided doses. If you take all 12 grams at once, folks, you will spend most of the day in the bathroom. Spread them out. It's not hard to do. Keep some in your pocket. Whenever you go get a glass of water, take a little vitamin C. Spread them out, 4 or 5 doses a day, 2 to 3 grams each dose. As you get sick, if you get sick, your bowel tolerance dose may increase dramatically, up to 20 to 30 grams in a single day. 40 grams, 50 grams, it's been recorded and known to happen. So as we become sick, you can greatly increase your vitamin C dose. It is my advice to you that if you choose to take more than 30 grams of vitamin C a day, find a doctor who's experienced in the use of high-dose vitamin C, not so much that it's toxic or dangerous, but to give you proper instruction. And if you're feeling you're so sick to take 30 or more grams a day, there may be other things that experienced physician could help you figure out that would really help you. Vitamin C may very well be a part of it, but there could be other things that could help you. There are no recorded deaths from vitamin C. No recorded deaths. And the notion that vitamin C, higher dose vitamin C, causes kidney stones is misinformed. Studies that look at dehydration with vitamin C dosing finds that it's the dehydration that leads to the kidney stones, not the vitamin C. So the point is, if you're taking higher dose vitamin C, 10, 15, 20, 30 grams a day for longer periods of time, be sure and hydrate, because dehydration is what will lead to your stones, not the vitamin C. And the statisticians can sort that out. They ferret all those factors out, and it's the dehydration. Take 1 gram of vitamin C every hour until you have bowel symptoms, or take 1 or 2 grams every 2 to 3 hours. But just spread them out, and you will find your bowel tolerance dose. And when you're ill, do the same thing, maybe at a little higher dose, 2 or 3 every 4 hours. You will find your bowel tolerance dose for when you are ill. Now, I do want to mention before we go to our break, there are some true advantages to intravenous high-dose vitamin C. Doses as high as 60 grams in the treatment of cancer have been studied and found to be safe. There are no GI side effects, so it's very well tolerated. When we return, we'll talk more about how to do it and what type of patient would benefit the most from higher dose vitamin C therapy. We'll be right back.
There's a place to share gossip about the office party fun, and a place to share the story you tell everyone. There's a place to share a laugh about when things went wrong, and a place to share the video of you dancing to your song. There's a place to share spare change, lunch, and your time. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
KSCE Live Christian Television presents Wonders of Creation, Stars.
Consider the stars of the night sky. The Bible says that God created these wonders to mark the passage of time and to declare His glory. As the earth spins, the stars rise and set with clockwork precision. Stars are incredible sources of energy, glowing hot globes of hydrogen and helium gas. Our own sun puts out more energy every second than 100 billion nuclear bombs. But our sun is only one speck in an enormous galaxy of stars called the Milky Way, estimated to contain over 100 billion stars. But the Milky Way is only a grain of sand amidst a sea of galaxies. An estimated 100 billion galaxies are in the visible universe alone. Just imagine the power displayed every night, produced by 100 billion galaxies, each with millions to trillions of blazing stars. Yet God just spoke them into existence.
We're back, everyone, learning so much about vitamin C, aren't we, today? Well, I want to give you another little reminder about that special so you can take advantage of it and get your levels of vitamin C up to what they need to be. You buy one bottle of the Dr. Becker's Bionutrients Vitamin C Complex at the list price, and you'll get a second bottle free. So don't miss that one. So, Richard, we've been talking about high-dose vitamin C therapies. So there are a select group of people who should not take high dose.
Yeah, if you add up all of the people who should not take high dose, everyone needs some vitamin C. Let's be very clear about that. But if you add them all up, it's about 6-7% of the world's population should not take high dose vitamin C. If you have a glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, I know that's a mouthful, but this is up to 5% of those with African or Mediterranean descent. 1 in 20 will have this glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. You should not take large doses of vitamin C over 1 gram. Under a gram, tolerated just fine. I would stay around 500 milligrams if you have the G6PD deficiency syndrome, and you won't have any trouble with that, but you should not take 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 grams. You could die from that, so don't do that. Most doctors who give IV high-dose vitamin C, they test for this enzyme deficiency before they do it. That's the smart thing to do. If you don't have it, you can take it. If you are on iron therapy, if you're taking iron for anemia, don't take your high-dose vitamin C. You can take a low dose because it'll help you absorb more iron, but if you take too much iron, it can really make you absorb too much iron. If you have iron overload, you should not take high-dose vitamin C, hemochromatosis. If you have oxalate kidney stones, this is controversial. The studies that really look closely at this, it's really more of a dehydration issue than the acidity or the molecule vitamin C. Drink more water. That's what you need if you have kidney stones. Also, the condition of kidney stones is common with heavy metal toxicity. Keep that in mind. The real problem could be you have heavy metals in your bloodstream. Nobody's checking for that. The other thing where you should not have high-dose vitamin C is if you're in kidney failure, if you're on dialysis, or you've had a transplant. Now, that may seem like a long list, but it's not that many people. 95 out of 100, 94 out of 100 can take higher dose vitamin C and do just fine. Everyone needs a little vitamin C. Let's be clear, but the high dose should be avoided by that list. Side effects, those are of bowel tolerance. Vitamin C is only mildly acidic. Everybody says, oh, I can't take all that acid. Your stomach acid is the order of 10 to 100 times more acidic than vitamin C. It's not that acidic. It's a mild acid. Just drink some water with it. If you're getting reflux because of vitamin C, it's because you're constipated. Okay? It's not the vitamin C. You're going to get the reflux anyway. Bowel probiotics, a little more fiber, a little noni juice for regularity. Drink more water, you'll get things moving properly. Now, there are different types of vitamin C, but they're all converted to the same active ascorbic acid. I want to be clear about that. Ascorbic acid with bioflavonoids works the best. Bioflavonoids improve the action of vitamin C. That's been studied and proven. It's really fascinating. Bioflavonoids, here this, you know where they come from, Cindy? Bioflavonoids are found in the white pitty stuff around the orange peel. That stuff we tend to throw away. It's in the fibrous part of the orange, but if we extract those bioflavonoids, these antioxidants, and include it with the vitamin C, it makes it more effective. So look for the bioflavonoids in your vitamin C. It makes it work better. So that would mean instead of 15 grams a day, you would only need 12. It's cost saving. It makes it work better. That's nice to know. There is a fat-soluble, time-release, cell membrane protective ascorbopalmitate, and really that's converted to the active ascorbic acid the same. Some people say it's easier on their stomach. That's the ester type C. That's debatable. Studies that really look at the action of it don't show it helps that much. It doesn't really make much difference unless it's more tolerable for you. That's fine. But the vast majority, if you're using the vitamin C properly, just plain ascorbic acid with bioflavonoids is the best way to go. Ascorbate salts, sodium potassium salts, are those that they use for IV or IM and don't really apply to oral use. Who should use them? Who should consider a higher dose of vitamin C? Viral infections, colds, flu, hepatitis, polio. There are recorded cases of acute polio completely put into remission, as it were, with high-dose vitamin C. That's amazing. And more doctors need to know about this. Herpes, chicken pox, shingles, pneumonia. These viruses, they're the bane of human existence, and high-dose vitamin C really does work. Bacterial infections, streptococcus, staphylococcus, tetanus. There's a case of a life being saved with tetanus, something that generally thought of as incurable, with high-dose vitamin C. It's in the medical literature. That is remarkable. Tuberculosis, cancer, lymphoma, doses up to 60 grams a day have been studied and helpful in cancer. I would not assume that vitamin C is a complete cure for cancer. I would use it as a holistic, complete approach with your cancer doctor's help and make it a complement to your cancer therapy. Cardiovascular disease. You can regress atherosclerotic plaques with high-dose vitamin C. Stroke resolution, lowering of cholesterol and inflammatory conditions, diabetes and its complications, liver disease, autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, burns, outstanding, both thermal and radiation, including sunburns. High-dose oral, boy, it really helps a sunburn, believe you me. Heat stroke, corneal ulcerations. The cornea keeps ulcerating and the doctor's afraid they're going to have to give you a corneal transplant. Please try high-dose vitamin C first, please. Glaucoma, spider and snake bites, bug bites, their prevention. Many people find if they take higher dose vitamin C, they don't even get mosquito bites. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Also, a little more here, pain from spinal stenosis, ruptured disc, trauma and surgery recovery, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorders, reduction of immunization side effects, protecting the kidneys from X-ray contrast material, and many more. All of these we're taking from scientific writings of case studies from physicians all over the world. So, more and more reasons to use vitamin C. Isn't it amazing? We'll be right back for the wrap-up.
Christ in Prophecy, a program that focuses on the fundamentals of Bible prophecy, showing how current events in the news relate to biblical predictions of end-time events and the soon return of Jesus. Now, here's your host, Dr. David Reagan.
Right here on KSE Christian Television.
It's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
Nothing But the Truth, Tuesdays at 5 and Saturdays at 12:30.
She's crazy. That's what I heard. Just plain crazy. Something's got to change because we keep doing the same thing over and over. And our church is dying.
We must become seekers of God's presence.
In His presence, there's power.
Join us for Nothing But the Truth, Tuesdays at 5 and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m.
Tune in weekdays at 11 a.m. for United with Christ with special guests from local churches. Meet local pastors from El Paso, Las Cruces, and surrounding areas as they share the truth and hope of God's love and salvation. Discover God's faithfulness and journey with us weekdays as we deliver life-changing biblical truths through Scripture and prayer. Join Life Christian Broadcasting Network weekdays at 11 a.m. for United with Christ.
As Texas responds to the coronavirus, here are some simple and effective steps that you can take to help.
Wash your hands with soap and water. Use a tissue to cover a cough or sneeze. Avoid shaking hands and disinfect frequently touched surfaces. And if you're feeling sick, be sure to stay at home.
With these steps, you can protect yourself, your family, and help fight the spread of the coronavirus in Texas.
When I shut up the heavens so that there is no rain, or command locusts to devour the land, or send a plague among my people, if my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
Your Health is brought to you by BioInnovations, trusted products for your health and well-being. We're back, everyone. Just a quick reminder about that special today on the vitamin C complex. This is great. Dr. Becker's BioNutrients Vitamin C complex is buy one, get one free. Don't want you to miss that one. So, Richard, let's recap the uses of the high-dose vitamin C and describe how many milligrams would be the low level, et cetera.
I think in general, it depends on who you ask that question, but most doctors and people who know more about health, anything above a gram a day is considered a little higher dose. To those experienced in orthomolecular medicine who have used higher dose vitamin C, they would say anything over probably 6 grams a day. So what I would do if you're interested, and I recommend if you're struggling with your health, give 30 days of higher dose vitamin C. Give it a try. Vitamin C is not very expensive. I do recommend the bioflavonoid version because you get more out of it. There's more benefit. But take a gram every hour while you're awake. Now, as you approach that 10 to 12 grams a day, you might get a little stomach and intestinal. You may clean out a little bit. And maybe you need that. Maybe we're a little constipated. And that's another use of higher dose vitamin C, is to get our intestines moving more regularly. Another way to do it is every 3 to 4 hours. That's more practical. It's easier to remember. Every 3 to 4 hours, take a couple grams. Do that 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. For most people, as you reach that 8 to 12 grams in a 24-hour period, you're going to go, that's enough for one day. I'm fine. I don't need any more. And as you become sick, say you come down with influenza, that 8 to 12 grams in one day could increase to 20, 25 or more grams that you can tolerate. Now, this notion that why take a higher dose if we just urinate it out? You know, you're losing money in your urine. That is the most absurd notion I've ever heard, and it reflects complete ignorance in the understanding of nutrition. This is why I spent the last hour discussing with you all 8 of those enzymatic reactions that vitamin C actually do. It goes so far beyond just losing it in your urine. Your body needs this. It is essential. We can't live without it. And 100 milligrams of vitamin C, which is typical in most multiple vitamins, does not provide for those other 7 enzymatic reactions. All of these advanced benefits of vitamin C come at higher doses. And so it's absolutely worth a try. Increase your water intake so we don't get kidney stones. We won't have any problem with that. Make sure you don't have the glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. And if you're not a kidney patient, you're not going to have any trouble with this, and you're going to see benefits. Give it a little time. Nutritional measures take longer than medicine, but I have had relief from joint pains within an hour or 2 of higher dose vitamin C, and that can happen for you as well. Thank you for your kind attention on an important topic. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Your Health. Bye-bye.
Join us at Harvest Christian Center Wednesday, October 14th at 7 p.m. with our guest, Rebecca Friedrichs. Rebecca is the face of a national movement to restore the voices and authority of parents and teachers in our public schools. Rebecca's book, Standing Up to Goliath, exposes the bullying tactics of the national teachers' unions. She founded For Kids and Country, which is a national movement of parents, teachers, students, faith leaders, and citizens uniting to restore our schools and culture. Join us Wednesday, October 14th at 7 p.m.
Look! 911, where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened?
Your friend's not breathing.
She's dead? Please get my mom and dad. Oh my God!
This is CBN Newswatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN Newswatch, because truth matters.
You are watching Life Christian Broadcasting.